Namaste and welcome. I am Pratim Ranjan Bose and you are listening to my podcast Perspective. In this episode, I will look at India's achievements in cricket and other sports from the perspective of economic growth. India has just won the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup after a gap of 17 years. India won the first edition of the biennial tournament in 2007. With this, the country's ICC trophy count, combining all three formats of the game, reached 6, second to Australia's 10. India has been runner-up in the last edition of ICC Championship in one-day and test crickets. The on-field performance of Indian cricket team is backed by or a direct reflection of what is happening in the background. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, or BCCI, is arguably one of the best sports administrators globally. Till the 1980s, cricket was a seasonal game in India. Hardball cricket is costly, and a career in this sport was mostly pursued by kids of the well-to-do families. The definition of career was also not very well defined, as cricketers of those days, including the batting superstar Sunil Gavaskar, had full-time jobs to lean on. Economic liberalization took place in 1991, creating grounds for more sponsorship in sports. However, till the mid-90s, say 1995, the catchment areas of cricket and football were limited to 4 or 5 states each. Also, leaving the national cricket team members apart, the top 100 footballers made more or less as much money as cricketers. Remember, India then had a few successes in cricket. In comparison, the country barely had any achievements in football after 1962, and the FIFA ranking was the same or below the Eastern Indian neighbor Bangladesh. Since then, football has progressed, but only marginally. India's FIFA ranking stands at 124, far below Thailand at 100, Vietnam 116 and China 88. Bangladesh declined to the 185th spot. But the ecosystem in cricket has improved dramatically, which is reflected in consistent good performance on field. The primary credit goes to disruptive planning by cricket administrator late Jagmohan Dalmiya and corporates like Zee Enterprises. Dalmiya was a Marwari businessman and a cricket administrator in the Indian state of West Bengal, which was better known for football and never had much representation in the national team except for the illustrious captain Sourav Ganguly. In 1997, Dalmiya extracted political support to become the president of the International Cricket Council, or ICC. And India and the world got its most visionary cricket administrator. In barely a decade, cricket became the most popular game in India. The catchment areas had spread into every school and every mohalla in every state of this populous country. That opened the tap of talent and corporate sponsorships. From a game of Maharajas back in the 1950s and 60s, and a game of the upper middle class or rich in the 1970s and 1980s, suddenly cricket became a game of the common man. The majority of top cricketers in any format now come from humble backgrounds. Many come from poor families. If Dalmiya triggered a revolution in Indian cricket, so did corporates. Zee Enterprises did a carry packer job by launching the Indian Cricket League, ICL, in 2007. ICL was a professional T20 league and the father of today's IPL. Zee took the idea from a small initiative by the England and Wales Cricket Board, ECB, which the ICCs and BCCIs of the world were resisting. Zee suffered for the revolutionary idea. BCCI banned the cricketers from participating in the league. But they took the idea to launch a bigger and better Indian Premier League that became the biggest money churner in the world of cricket. The media rights value of IPL stands at $6.2 billion or approximately rupees 50,000 crore in Indian currency for a 5-year period starting from 2022. The brand value of the IPL system exceeds $10 billion. At an estimated net worth of $2.25 billion, BCCI is the world's richest cricket body, 28 times richer than the next richest board, Cricket Australia. Cricket is India's new gold mine. The huge flow of finance, supported by right policy interventions by BCCI, created a flourishing ecosystem. Cricket is no longer a preserve of a few states. Captain Cool Mahendra Singh Dhoni was from Jharkhand. Top fast bowler Jasprit Bumrah and star all-rounder Hardik Pandya are from Gujarat. At least 200 Indian players who do not get a berth in the national team are making millions in the IPL system. Add to these the scores of support staff, technical analysts, commentators, journalists and advertising professionals. Cricket is creating huge direct employment. Indirectly, cricket contributes significantly to the airlines and hotels. That is about the national economy. Internationally, cricket became a major political tool for India. Globally, sports and politics are interrelated. From the Olympics to the FIFA World Cup, everything is part of global politics. Politicians become administrators of successful sporting disciplines. They bring in much needed policy support. They also invite corruption and controversies. But those are necessary evils. Back in the 90s, when Dalmiya became ICC president, cricket's popularity was declining vis-a-vis football in the developed West. Naturally, Western sponsorship in cricket was declining. Over the last 2 decades, BCCI created a parallel and bigger universe for cricket riding on the Indian growth story. They not only opened the money tap but expanded the geographic coverage of cricket. Taliban-run Afghanistan does not even have a legal currency, let alone cricket stadiums and ecosystems. They reached the semi-finals of the latest edition of the T20 World Cup. The Afghan captain gave full credit to India for raising the team. The economic and political crisis in Zimbabwe had destroyed its cricket. The Indian team will go on a tour to Zimbabwe in July to ensure that its board gets revenues. BCCI also promised technical help to the Zimbabwean board. India is now the lifeline of global cricket. Every board looks forward to a cricket match with the Indian team to gain sponsorship revenue. The demand is more for hosting a game with India. Every time the Indian team visits Bangladesh, their cricket board gets distinctly richer. If Pakistan cricket is failing these days, part of the reason goes to finance and lack of Indian support. Indian team stopped touring Pakistan due to Islamabad's involvement in terrorism. Cricket has become India's geopolitical tool not only in Asia and Africa but also in the developed North. If the USA exported baseball and basketball to cricket-playing nations, India exported cricket to the USA and Olympics. Cricket can be one of the tools to build goodwill and counter Chinese moneybags in Afghanistan and Africa. National achievements in sports are linked to countries' economic and political aspiration. The correlation was established by India's success in cricket. BCCI became bigger as the Indian economy grew over the last 3 decades. And that takes us to question, why are we failing to repeat the success in Olympic sports? We are surely improving. With only a bronze in the bag, India was ranked 71 in the Sydney Olympics medal tally in 2000. We were ranked 48th with 7 medals in Tokyo. But as a multiracial country with a young population, Indian performance is nowhere near its closest peer, China, which was ranked 2nd in Tokyo with 89 medals. It is important to find out the reason behind such glaring failure. Did we, as a nation, take Jawaharlal Nehru's world vision of peace, harmony and participation too seriously and neglect the competitive spirits? Single party ruled China participated in the Olympics for the first time in 1984 and was ranked fourth with 32 medals, including 15 golds. That was a time when China and India were equally poor. India did not get a single medal in that Olympics. Why? International sports rankings add up to the power quotient of the economy. If India wants to become a global power, it must do better in the Olympics. How can we do that? How can we make it to the top 10 in the Olympics medal tally? I will soon invite a guest to my YouTube channel, Podcast with Pratim, to find the answers. Thank you for listening to Perspective. If you like this episode, please share and subscribe. See you next week. फिर मिलेंगे.